guys.
Oh, there are 3 cameras. This is like
This budget.
everywhere. Look.
Talking about cameras, Gabriella, shout out to Sony South Africa for hooking me up with this ZVE 10s. Nee? Is it good?
Awesome.
You're going to have to practice that.
Yeah, I always get it wrong. But thank you guys for helping out with the podcast, believing in the long form conversations, not scripted. Appreciate it. Shout out Sony. If you're an influencer or content creator or filmmaker that are in the market for affordable equipment, Sony's the place to be. Thank you for reminding me, Gabriella. But there are 3 cameras. There's a wide, single on you because we shoot 4K. We're going to create singles.
Cool.
It's actually a 2-shot.
Yeah.
And a single on me.
Amazing.
Awesome.
I was speaking to you like you don't know anything about film. But we only hacked the 4K single recently because we were like, what if there's 2 people on the show?
On that, is that one 4K?
Yeah.
What's that one?
Because then they're all actually 4K,
Okay.
but you guys are 2-shots so we can create singles. And with Premiere Pro, that is not a sponsor, but Premiere Pro.
But it can be a sponsor.
Yes, 600 a month is rough. But Premiere Pro's got like insane AI editing tools where this, I kid you not, like an hour conversation, it edits this thing in a minute.
That's mad.
Then it's, because it cuts on the audio, who's speaking.
Crazy.
Cray. We still have an editor. We're not giving jobs to robots. I need to gonna get cancelled. Yet. Thank you, Gabriel. So your script was written by ChatGPT.
Pre-ChatGPT.
No, I'm kidding, guys.
Before.
But thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Laura Lee, shout out for hooking us up. I'm super excited for this because I know nothing about each of you. And I always regret when I start doing research, I'm like, why don't I know these people? They've been doing this incredible work for so long. But you guys are filmmakers, writer, director, producer, writer.
Correct. Also.
Okay, this film.
Yes, we co-wrote this film with Marissa van Eden.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to give context to the listener and viewer, Kwiksilwer is out now. This episode is dropping next week. So it'll still be out?
We hope so.
Yeah. I don't know what a Kwiksilwer is. Is it an old lady with grey hair? Is that
Correct.
it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Correct. Yeah.
Well, it's a bit of a pun.
Yeah.
You have to watch the movie. And then
You see.
No, the car that they're driving is called, it's like nicknames Quicksilver, but like there was a bit of a running joke in the writer's room that, these women are quick, they're driving through the Karoo, they got silver hair, so it kind of became this idea of its own.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't see the film, so sorry, guys.
Yet.
No
Yes,
stress.
thank you, Gabriella.
Yeah.
It's on my to-watch list. I don't know if you guys have kids, but when you got a 2-year-old, that's the only thing you watch.
Yeah. You're watching like Blippy and all the...
Miss Rachel.
Yeah. I'm there.
Are you a Malcolm Gladwell fan? Do you know Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
He did a podcast episode, Revisionist History, on Bluey. On how Paw Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
On how like the world, all the kids love it, all the dads and the moms hate it, and why it's such a fascinating thing about storytelling. So he deep dives into because he loves it. Like Malcolm Gladwell's got like a 4-year-old or something, and he wanted to know why everyone hates it, and he loves it. And so he speaks to different storytellers and creators, and it comes down to the way that show is set up. Very exposition. So I don't know if you watch a Paw Patrol episode. Yeah. So there's a crisis. Assemble quickly. You grab this. You grab that. Then you're gonna do that. Then you're gonna do that.
There's no problem solving.
The problem is the kid never. The kid watches it, never gets I wonder how are they gonna do this? How are they gonna fix this problem? They just see it the whole time, and then it's like it works, and then he goes and and then he does more research, and it comes down to the creators are Canadian, and everything works there. So that's why they made a show where it's like, well, that's how it works here. It's like, why do we think of like...
That's hilarious.
Yeah, fascinating.
But Bluey is actually really well written.
I haven't seen a lot of it. I try to, our daughters too now. So like the stuff I read is like, you try to stay away from stuff that's too quickly edited, like visually like that. I don't know if Bluey is that fast.
No, I think it's past all. It's Bluey's Australian. It's like past all those tests.
Where is it? Okay.
I watch it. I mean, my child's too young to watch TV. I just watch Bluey. I'm kind of joking.
It's a really good show for the whole family as well.
There's a reason it's like massive like that.
Yeah.
But I read something. I don't know. But yeah, we also try to cap our child. But then there comes time where you're like, I just need half an hour of like just this deadline, and then you're just like, oh, YouTube.
Yeah.
Co-parenting with YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So
back to the
sorry. Welcome to the ADHD world of podcasting. So, Kwiksilwers.
Yeah.
Came out last year. Silwerskerm.
Yes,
2 years
last year
ago.
Silwerskerm.
Okay. What was is it a story close to home with regards to like grandparents in that world, or did you guys just think of like something cool?
You take this
So
one.
it really came. We've done a few other shorts for Silwerskerm, and we did a short called Leemtes and Leegheid, and it was starring Lida Bouwer, and she played this.
She's incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible, and it really came off the back of that story and working with her, because we kind of walked off that set and we were like, this
you need to
woman
write
is
something for her.
just we were like, this woman is just phenomenal. She's like so much older than us, but she's got so much energy. Her humor is like incredible. And we're not seeing her in like main roles in like things. So we have to work with her. So we toyed with a few ideas, and that's where Die Kwiksilwers was born. She was like, my wife always jokes, she wishes that she was like 80 years old, because then she could be my muse. But Lida was like our muse for the project.
Because to give also a bit of other context about the types of films that Jordy and I have done, our first film that we made together was a documentary about a 98-year-old Holocaust survivor. And obviously, so the documentary is called I Am Here, and obviously was set in the backdrop of the Holocaust, but really focused on how she lives life today. She's actually 103 years old this year. Okay. We filmed it a few years ago. And please God, will be 104 in the next few months. But the film really actually focused on how she lived to the present day. And she also just had this boundless energy and this zestful life and this naughty sense of humor. And, we did that film first, then we did Leemtes and Leegheid. And I think we found that there's so much, there's still so much misconception about women in their silver years. And so that was kind of the basis of, well, we've done quite serious films, obviously a Holocaust documentary, but also Leemtes and Leegheid was a drama, and it really explored a woman who lost her husband and being very deep in the state of grief and what that means. And this was kind of what happens next.
Yeah. The more lighter side of it, almost, in a sense.
Yeah. So the premise is still Lida's character has just lost her husband, and her son is trying to sell the husband's car, and Lida just wants to hold on to this car because it means it's her connection to her husband. But in order to hold on to it, she needs to get away, and she goes on this crazy road trip with 3 friends, and they do have a wild ride across the Karoo. So it's comedy, it's fun.
You shot it in Tankwa. Well, is it Tankwa involved, or was it just like a dirt road in that Cape Valley? Is it what you should have kept on?
So we shot it, but in Cape Town. Most of the Karoo scenes we shot in Willow. So we found a farm that had a variety of kind of scenery, and that we could film different scenes and make it look like there were different kind of textures in the Karoo.
Nice. Yeah.
So but when we recceed, we actually went to Sutherland. We drove all around and saw, what would make the most sense.
That place, the whole Karoo, Tankwa, it feels like heaven and hell in the same place. It's just like, it's one of the most beautiful. I took a motorcycle trip through the Tankwa, entering the one side, and then you hit like a 200 kilometer, whatever, gravel. And it's incredible. It's like, it feels like it's the only place. I don't know if you've been to Africa Burn, or that's kind of your job.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
No,
I was like,
but that's the only
when
reference.
did you go to Tankwa?
and you're filmmakers, every filmmaker. I've never been there though.
Yeah, no, we've never been.
Yeah.
I don't think you've been.
But that's normally the Tankwa story. It feels like you can either die there or you're going to grow old.
See God. But I think also, that was a big part, just from a production side, thinking about where we were going to film, is actually where it had signal, because a lot of places like the Tankwa just does not have signal.
So was that really an important factor?
You've got, ironically though, what ended up happening is one of the places we shot, when the power went out, so did the cell phone tower, because the cell phone tower was actually run on batteries from like solar power batteries, but the batteries had been stolen. So we actually did choose a place where there was signal, and then it just was. Yeah. We sometimes had signal.
So how long was the writing process?
It was about a year. We took our time. It was a full commission from Cakenet, and we took about a year. Nice. From beginning to end, to like very slowly write with Marissa.
Oh, nice.
And we first started in English most of the drafts, and then the last few drafts we started adapting dialogue into Afrikaans.
So full commission, just for the listener, means it's fully funded. You don't have to. Well, you're allowed to get more money if you want, right?
It really depends. This was, we first were greenlit just for development. So we got money to write. And as Jordy said, we set up like a writer's room. We also had Carla Smith in the writer's room. So we just surrounded ourselves with good comedy writers, good Afrikaans writers who understand the audience. And then, full commission, we then were greenlit for, so that means they give you the budget.
Yeah.
But it also then means that there are definite pros and cons. The pros are we're not... there's very little risk for us as a production company. But obviously now that the film's gone to cinema, we don't own the rights of the film.
Yeah.
But I think for us, it was just a fantastic stepping stone into working with CakeNet on a feature.
Nice, yeah.
And a really nice...
There's also everything comes with a price. There's also the other reality of because we've done a few films with them, is when they fund it, they have a lot of creative say. And that's sometimes tough because you're fighting for a character and an actor, and then they just go, nope, overexposed, or whatever the reason may be. And then there's validity in that sometimes, but you sitting with the story for a year and a half, 2 years, and you want that one person, and then they're just nope. But I think the movie model in South Africa is such an interesting place, because it's either you get the full on money to go and make it, or you have to fund it yourself. I don't know if there's a midway anymore. I don't know if you guys are in talks with Netflix or flirting with them for stuff coming up. But I'm guessing that's everyone's dream, is to work with a budget bigger than 10 million rand.
Exactly. I think we've been trying for the last while now. We got a lot of projects on the go, and we're looking into private equity and what sort of models. I think the future really is what Jordy van der Walt did on Gaia, where you put a crew together and
everyone owns a bit.
Everyone owns a bit of IP, exactly, and you do it for a bit of a lower rate because you're almost an investor in the film. Or the other option is you do it for as cheap as you can, 2 to 3 million rand, make a film, and then you try sell it for to a Netflix or to a CakeNet. I think that's the only way, really, at the moment.
Yeah, I guess to be a full-time filmmaker in South Africa, it's either that or you have to get a soapy gig where your production company, or a telenovela that's popular now in Afrikaans.
Yeah,
is it's obviously big in English as well, but it feels like CakeNet almost now only started going money at that world. So with regards to the language thing, was it difficult to tap into Afrikaans culture, writing for us and how strange we are, or was it?
I don't know, culturally, I don't think it actually was such a shift.
Because the film, it's not really. It's universal. It's not like it's Afrikaans. It's just a language of Afrikaans.
Yes and no. I think there are. I think when you watch it, you will see, your Oma or Tani. There will be situations that are reflected. I think for Jordy and I, we are both from a very tight-knit Jewish community, and I think there are a lot of similarities between the cultures, just in terms of community. So sometimes we'd sit with Marista and would maybe argue over, okay, what's a pad course that would go in the car, some of those cultural nuances. But, we all can relate to going on a family road trip, having, someone who's packing the food for the car, or someone, there's the Tani who wants this and the Tani who wants that, and the person who buys a cactus at every stop and doesn't think, okay, how's it going to fit in the car?
Yeah.
So I think there were, I think from a community aspect, we have a similar maybe upbringing in that sense. And then the language, it's a pleasure to work in Afrikaans because the language is so rich. And it also, can contribute to the humor, but even then the nuance in the more serious lines, there's just a lot of subtext that you can get across in Afrikaans.
So it's a weighted language at times. But there's something about Jordy, so these heads are so heavy. So you can just every now and then just lift the the arms. Sorry, man, I'm figuring out all this. But that's already
making me work. Yeah.
But there's something about what you say now. It's even though there's different cultures and religions and backgrounds or whatever, but there's always these universal truths that'll always resonate to everyone. And I spoke to someone this morning about because we spoke about Netflix and all the interest in Afrikaans content, and then you always try to think of but you have to write for Afrikaans people, but it came down to if you take a show like Squid Game, which was never meant to go beyond Korean audiences. It's Korean, yeah. And how it just blew up worldwide, and outside of Korea, because it's a basic film about the class system. It's that everyone can relate to it, no matter where you're from, and it feels like that's the key to me lately. Is like whatever you create, hone in on that one small little thing that's true, because it's 90% of the times actually more human truth than a cultural truth or a linguistic truth.
Absolutely.
Definitely. But I think people also want to see, unique, I think it's very interesting because, a lot of Jewish people have gone to cinema to see this film. So I think maybe this film has the Guinness World Record for the most Jewish South Africans who've gone to watch an Afrikaans film at cinema. But it's just interesting to see how they've also gravitated to the characters, and they've loved seeing something that's also sometimes a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I think Gabi mentioned we created these characters, but I think what we try to do, you have Anna, who's the nosy next door neighbor. You have
you have people that you know.
You know exactly. Everyone has that, and then there's the one who's the Minky, who's the absolute wild card, free spirit, and then there's what's Therese's character now? I'm going blank.
Katie.
Oh, Katie, who's a bit of the shy, a bit of the shy lost cop. So I think I'm saying, you watch the film and you know someone who's like that. You feel like you're watching someone that you.
And if you don't know someone that's like that, you are that person.
Yeah, or the algorithm will feed you someone like that pretty soon. So from a director's point of view, was it tough directing? Because obviously I guess you can understand a little bit Afrikaans.
Yes.
But then it probably helps if you knew what they were saying and how they were saying it, and tonally.
Definitely. I think. Well, the amazing thing is that we had Marista on set as well, so she came on set
the whole
also.
time.
Yeah.
What?
So
that's unheard of.
But I think it's
a writer on set.
Yeah,
we also had our editor on set.
What?
But I think it's because
we'll get back to that. I want to know.
With Marista being on set, I think it was because we had these amazing actresses, and we also just wanted to give them the space to improv, because June van Merch is actually often at her best when she's improvising.
Those theater thespians,
yes.
They go, oh, this is interesting. This is a cool, cute little script.
Yeah.
Roll the camera. Let me show you what I got.
So that's why. So Marista was sometimes there just to whisper in my ear what they were, the kind of path that they were taking the script.
If it's helping the film or not.
Yes, exactly. But I think also working with these, I think there were veterans, and I think that the rest of the cast are veterans to be, because I really think also the younger actors in the cast were absolutely phenomenal, and it was just it really was a pleasure. Every now and then they'd need direction, but otherwise I was either behind the monitor laughing or crying, and I didn't really have to do much.
But that is incredible to have a writer on set. I mean, I think that's the dream. Yeah, because sometimes stuff changes. You get an idea that you think we need to, trust me, small little thing, tweak on the text or just change the scene a little bit, and it can take the film to a whole new dimension. And then, but then you go there's no time. But that's rare. Well done to you guys. Do you always try to do that?
Well,
or why was it like this time?
Well, I think for this, the three of us co-wrote it, and I think we were aware that, especially with the improv, it can move quite quickly. So we didn't want Jordy we just wanted to make sure we were all 100% on the same page. So that's why it was just fantastic having Marista there. Also for the actors, they obviously are, fluent in English, and Jordy directed them in English. But sometimes Marista could just discuss a concept with them quickly in an Afrikaans, and just because it is also the characters they're playing, Afrikaans characters also culturally. So I think that authenticity is important.
But that's almost like what I like about this is you got a director that directs the performances. Then there's a DP that directs the
camera,
the prentjie, the picture.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. I know it's a norm in America to have the writers there, but it's to direct the words, to be for an actor to go, how did you mean this? What's happening here? I don't understand this, because how many times as an actor you're well, it doesn't make sense here. But I think that was super valuable. Well done. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say it also sometimes worked when things weren't going so well. We had, I remember the one day June needed to catch a flight, and we had put in our 12-hour day. That's June would leave, it would take an hour to get to the airport. But because we had now been driving on these roads with heavy trucks, they now were corrugated dirt roads. And instead of taking an hour to get to the airport, we were wondering it might take her 2 hours or even a bit longer. And she was just coming back just for the weekend to shoot something, I think in Cape Town, and then coming back to meet our set. And we had scheduled her into every scene that day, and she was in every shot. And Jordy was busy directing something. And I like saw this kind of unfolding as we were realizing like her timing, and looked at the scene that we were going to shoot at the end of the day and started like shuffling a little bit around. And then I went to Marista and I was like, okay, Marista, how do we edit June so that maybe she's just at the beginning of the scene and then she needs to run back into the shop and we just don't see her for the last few shots. And then we approached Jordy. We're like, okay, there's good news and bad news. And the bad news is we're taking your actress. The good news is we've already rewritten the scene.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So I think we had like a few moments like that.
No, that's
great.
amazing.
It's great to have that problem solving, like to come with a solution.
Yeah, because then you can focus on the...
Exactly.
No, you need to take time and figure out... I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So, producer?
Yeah.
Line produce everything?
No.
Okay.
Anna-Marie Duplessis was our line producer. I was very pregnant on set and a bit concerned about pregnancy brain. And I just wanted to make sure that I had someone who was very much on top of it.
Yeah. Is producing something that you've always liked, or that you grow to like it because it's just horrendous admin on admin?
Correct.
It's like you feel like a secretary. You're like a little PA for this. Everyone's doing the cool stuff, and you're sitting here doing contracts for like.
But look, I'm on a podcast.
You are on a manage your expectations. You've made it. You're on Afrikaans podcast.
So. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. The first time, so Jordy and I knew each other just like socially from the community, and he knew I studied film, and a few years ago he said, what do you know about producing? Because he wanted to direct this film I was telling you about, the documentary, yes. I Am Here. So he said, what do you know about producing? Let's get this done. And I said, I know nothing about producing. I've just done a master's in directing. But I'm sure we can do it. Like, how hard can
just
it be? Just
direct the budget. That's all you need to do. Direct the budget.
How hard can it be? And then we set up Sanctuary Films then, it was in 2019, just because we needed to rent equipment.
Yeah.
And I think we couldn't rent equipment if we didn't have a production company.
Yeah, like a name.
So we needed we quickly set up a production company and like got a bank account and whatever so that we could rent equipment. And I think we thought that the film would be, we're making a documentary. How hard can it be? We'll shoot for a month and then edit it and we'll be done. Little did we know, 3 years later, we released the film. And in that time, we just found a really beautiful way of working together. Yeah. As Jordy mentioned, we then made 2 shorts for Silwerskermfees, one that he directed and I produced, and then one that I directed and Jordy produced, and then we started writing Die Kwiksilwers. So I think we both really... we do often get a line producer to do a lot of the things that maybe we weren't trained in doing.
But if the money gets as big as like these commission things, it's like you need someone that's on top of it. Otherwise,
and I think we also then a lot of the kind of overall producing also comes down to now like the films in cinemas. So it's getting that information out there, or a lot of the other kind of big picture logistics that aren't just about the shooting. And I think that's something that Jordy and I both enjoy and do
so
together.
Did you both study film?
Yeah.
AFTA?
So I was at AFTA in Cape Town and Gabby was at Wits.
Wow, I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know if is it like a drama department?
Yeah, so they've got...
I know that, but there's not a film department.
There is a film department. So, when I started off there was only a drama department and you could do 1 or 2 film subjects. But by the time I finished, which was in 2016, they'd actually changed the degree to BA Film and Television. So people going to Wits now decide, are they going into an acting school or are they going and doing film full on? They've actually built a little cinema in the in one of the the S block there, which is very cool. And then I did a master's in London at the MetFilm School, which was much more practical.
Yeah.
So Wits is a film school and you do have all the different kind of learn about all the different departments, but it's very theoretical. It's very much
I think Texas is also like that. It's not very the majority of complaints of film students like it was just theory or film students. It's like theory. But I think like a place like AFTA is like just practical.
Yeah,
Or
there is theory,
majority.
but it's mostly, like I'm saying, you get to work with cameras and stuff in the
Yeah.
first year, where some of the other degrees, I think you only really starting to like.
So you studied
shoot.
directing.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
studied directing and writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So knowing what you guys know now, you're not 6 years in the industry. You just started the company in 2019. But how long have you been in the?
Yeah, I guess since then.
Oh, nice.
Because we
Yeah.
were...
Yeah, I was in commercials for a little while as a research
Before.
and director's assistant before,
Wow.
for about two years.
So knowing what you know now, would you go and study film again, or would you just start interning?
just get on set.
Yeah,
Good question. What
interning
would you
and
say?
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say that I haven't enjoyed the path that I've been on. So I guess I would do it again. And some of our collaborators that we've worked on all of our projects have been actually like working on projects with me since after. So like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to like
you know what's funny?
kick them off.
So majority of my life is in commercials, and then 90% of the time, everyone moans about, after no, it was a waste, man. It was pretty good. It's so expensive, and I wasted my time. But then everyone's got work. Everyone's in the industry. I'm like, well, you studied there. Why are you moaning? You got work now. But I think I come from a journalist background, so I never dabbled in this world. We just kind of flunk into it. But I think there's merit in studying, getting the muscles a little bit loose on like how film work and not terminology, but like just how set works and so on. But if you have the finances or a burst, I would say go rock and roll, because it's also the connections you make that's also almost like more valuable than the knowledge.
Yeah.
Because lately you can learn on a YouTube video on freaking now the most expensive camera, how it works to set it up, but the connections, I feel like and you make incredible connections there, because everyone that's there goes out to make incredible films. Like the majority of the people that's done the biggest stuff in South Africa, export stuff, is all like film cats and film students. So there's merit in that. No dissing or shaming any educational.
What I do think would be interesting though is I found, I don't know if it's just maybe my personal journey, but I think people might relate to it, is that when you go into say like a film school straight after school, you're not always, I don't think you really realize actually the opportunity that what film school is. And I guess I enjoyed it going a bit later when I did my master's, but it would actually be awesome to like get into the industry, get on set, kind of see what set is, how it works, what the hierarchy is,
Great point.
what happens. And then you go and then you realize film school is actually a time for one to just test things out, and there's no commissioning editor that you're answering to. So you actually can just
There's
test out
gear,
your
there's
ideas.
free gear. You got your buddy that's gonna do lighting. So it's
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think also going on film sets would humble a lot of people, because often in first year, some people come, I just remember like they think they're like Stanley Kubrick in their first year of film school. And I think just being on a film set, understanding the collaborative effort and how it all works.
and also understand the not so flashy part of it. Like you think you're a filmmaker until you in the Karoo. There's no gazebo for the sun. There's no water, and then you're like, do I really want to make films? No, it's true. It's totally
we
true.
did
Like
give our crew water just to
I was on a
just to
set
be sure. Just
in
to
the
tell you.
Karoo. I kid you not, there wasn't, and there's no trees in the Karoo,
No.
so there's no shade. The idea had to like ride up and down to get water. It was just one of those. The producer just put all the money in his pocket and good luck with it. Here's some scrap. Anyway,
I wish we had that problem.
damn
We
it.
do the opposite. We pump all of the money
Yeah.
into the film.
But seriously, like if you're a filmmaker out there and you say you want to make films, just before you go and study,
Get on set.
figure out how to get on set. Because there's days where you like work 3 weeks straight. It's night shoots, and it's not flashy and it's raining, and it's a little humble maker if you really want to do this. My next question was about you guys spoke about you knew each other from the Jewish community. Is like the religion a big part of the films that you create, or like the undertones? What do you call it? Inspiration or themes? Is there a lot of like religious themes in the stories you tell?
Yeah, I think particularly with this one, obviously it's like there's a fun side of friendship and this road trip through the Karoo, but there is the undertone of, loss and different people grieving. So I think the way that maybe our religion and our community has, we've explored that through them, is that there's, Gabi and I, there's a sort of ritual in the Jewish community when someone passes away. There's 7 days where you where it's called Shiva. It's like a mourning period, and like you basically like the house is packed with people visiting the person who's lost the family. So I think, you know, through attending all these different processes, I think we've realized that like grief is like almost like the ailment to grief is community and friendship and people being there for you, you know, and not like isolating yourself. So I think, you know, a lot of our undertones for our films come from this lived experience being a part of the Jewish community in South Africa. I don't know if you want to add anything there, Gab.
I would say that there's like a community aspect that I think bleeds in. There isn't like a religious aspect, I think. What is interesting though, I guess, is on like another reason why we started Sanctuary Films and didn't just join like a bigger production company is because Jordy and I both don't work on a Friday night and Saturday over the Jewish Sabbath, which is like unheard of if you're gonna shoot a 6-day week. Can't like leave
is that
at
every
4
weekend
o'clock on Friday every week. So
that's amazing.
So you know, for us it's really important from a religious perspective, but also I think I mean, that's just for me personally, I'm sure you agree, like keeping that Sabbath just keeps us sane because our phones are off. It's just family time. There's just this
recharging, checking in.
Obviously a meditative and personal time. But that was one of the reasons why we set up Sanctuary Films, that we can actually control when we're shooting. So on this project, we made sure that our crew was happy with how we were planning the shoot, which was we actually shot from Sunday to Friday and then took Saturday off, was our 6-day weeks.
Sure.
So it was also then important to find people who were happy to then shoot on a Sunday. But I think it's actually a beautiful way then you're on set and you know, you learn, people then ask you questions while you're doing that. Like it's on a Friday, the sun hasn't set yet. They're like, can't we just get in the one more shot? We're like, no, you know, it's 20 minutes before sunset and we actually need to go and we can't get in the car.
Well, that's amazing. I like the no compromise approach because I don't think, I'm speaking for myself now, I've never crossed paths with any, I don't want to say you Jewish filmmakers, but like filmmakers that's very, I want to use the word religious, but not in like a conservative way. Like
like observant of.
But you no compromise. Like these are my rules and this is how I operate. Because making films is your life. It's not like you taking a pause of your life and now I'm making a film. And then you go back to your routines. It's like no, this is my life. For the next 6 weeks, we're doing this film and we're taking Saturdays off. But I like that the fact that because especially like Afrikaans community, you work majority of the times with Afrikaans people. Rarely with like actors from another culture, especially like lately when you get cast in like a Mzansi magic show, you're like, okay, cool, I'm there, I'm the only white guy, which is great. But then you don't know the rest of your cast, and then you shoot the scene, flipping fun, follow each other on Instagram, had a great time, and then you're like 5 million followers. Who are these people? And I love that sometimes we're so, but we don't do it on purpose. No one only works with your tribe on purpose. It's how it works. It's your language, your culture, it keeps you there. But what excites me about where film and Netflix and streaming sites in South Africa is heading, let's see about the SABC streaming site, is the fact that I feel like, because I'm always waiting for what's going to be our big export. What's going to be South Africa's version of Adolescence, Squid Game, Money Heist, call it whatever your world is for you, that a show that just blew out the lights worldwide. And there hasn't been a show, I know Disaster Holiday from Rita Billy and them, Green Onion, Burnt Onion. I keep forgetting.
Burnt Onion.
Damn it, sorry, Reti. That show is doing incredible, but that's also it's a family. It's a safe show, if I can call it that. But I want to know when or what's going to be our holy shit that you see that South African show about whatever, Robben Island, whatever went down. So, and that stuff excites me. It feels like the more we actually go out in Afrikaans, we have the voortrekker, the lager, with all the, you know, our history with the Bouwer. We always say like, who's going to go out of the lager and work with other people or let other people into the lager? And like what you just said now, when other people start asking you questions about like, okay, how does it work on Fridays, Saturdays? I love stuff like that. Because it's actually just, we all have so much in common, especially when it comes to our religion and what we believe in. And how loyal we are to what we hold on to. So kudos on sticking, because that is, from a producer's point of view, that is an amazing call to be like, well, this is how it's going to work.
Yeah.
So what's your guys' view on like South African stories and where we are at the moment. Do you feel like South Africa TV film is at a healthy place, or is it more like we playing catch up and everything's mundane?
I think we had a very exciting time. Like if you look at the past few months and you see like we had a short film in the Oscar race.
Not us, South Africa.
No, not us. Yeah. South Africa.
Yeah,
I'm talking about South Africa as a
Lost Ranger?
The
country.
Last Ranger, yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Really
Amazing.
fantastic. Then also Imran Hamdullah had a film that won an award at Berlin. So I really think there's like, just in terms of the awards, and also Diane Weiss has a short film that's coming out now.
The
at
Cannes
Cannes.
one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cannes.
Yeah,
That's
so it's-
insane.
I'm just saying that I think the recognition for our work is really there. And then I think if you look at the shows like Go on Netflix, Shaka Ilembe, I just think South African storytelling is it's really up and up.
Yeah.
So I think that show that you mentioned now that's going to really hit the ceiling internationally, I think it's on its way.
I also think so. I hope it's my show.
It's also been,
Everyone's got a thing in their mind like, I'm going to be that guy.
it's also been exciting having, we just got the numbers now from Die Kwiksilwers opening weekend. And it was can we share this? I guess the overall, the overall is that it was the biggest opening weekend for an Afrikaans film since COVID.
In 6 years, that's incredible.
Yeah, so it's just really exciting that people are going back into the cinemas.
Yeah.
And, for us, it was really, we kept pushing the cinema release because it's such fun watching a film in a cinema with an audience. You're not on your phone, you're just focusing on the screen.
It'll never
you have
get old.
the music around you, you're completely focused. You can laugh with the people around you, you can cry with the people around you.
Yeah.
And there's just that magic that's in cinema. It was just we found out that news today. We're just so excited.
Congrats, that's insane. That is when we when we did marketing for our films, we had to do like walk on beaches with flyers. I don't know if you guys did any of that stuff for now, but it was just torture. And then you, for all December, you sacrifice your holiday. You literally walk on like Diaz Beach and Mosselbaai.
Don't give Jordy ideas. He's gonna go.
Yes,
and
and then the film comes out, and then it's just like, it's so it's great to hear stuff like that because it feels like you made something valuable and that people would want to go. And also, people tell people about the movie. And that's what you want. It's like, listen, this movie is beautiful, and that's the kind of marketing you trust. So,
yeah, it's nice to know when we saw the numbers. We're like, okay, that's not just our friends.
yeah, that's not the
there must
WhatsApp
have been
group.
some people who went that don't know us.
So the film, obviously the film belongs to Kyk now. So none of this, you're not entering film festivals, or are they? Do you know?
No, we're screening now at the Australian Film Festival.
Oh, nice.
It's streaming in it's streaming online there, and also it's in a few cinemas across Australia and New Zealand.
We've also actually heard that it's given that they're like Perth cinemas booked. Everyone's coming to see Die Kwiksilwers.
All the South Africans getting
so all
up.
the South Africans
That's
are
what you
coming.
want. That's what you want. What's the film that's going to Cannes? Arsefools.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently, Benny told me it's like 4,000 entries for the short film category.
Yeah, and they choose
That
11.
sounds
They
impossible.
choose 11 short films.
That is insane.
Yeah.
And then we came in. Shout out. That's insane. But I like the. I don't know if I'm allowed to give the premise away, but you know what the premise of the film is.
I know a little bit
It's
about it.
genius.
Yeah.
He makes such a. Duan.
Diane.
Diane. Yeah, Diane Weiss.
He's such small. The world is so small. The previous film with the jog, the race.
The
Yes,
homeless.
Bergie.
Bergie,
It's
yeah.
such a small world.
Brilliant
But
film.
but in here it's massive,
Mm,
and that's why people freaking resonate to it.
definitely.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to filmmakers because there's just. Well, I'm gonna say it's not a lot, but everyone's a filmmaker doesn't have films out, so like it's.
Well, you'll get Dion in next after Cannes.
If
he's not too
if I
famous
can afford
yet.
him. No, but the Cape Town, I really get to speak to Cape Town people
Oh,
just
that's
because
true.
I'm here. But the plan is to expand. So are you guys? So the film is hopefully running for like the next month or two. Then it's going to box office, I guess, which is on DSTV.
Yeah.
You can buy it there.
Then on CakeNet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
And
then
on
and
Showmax.
then on Showmax
Oh, lekker.
last. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So what's next? Is there like a film that's is it already in the works? Is it commissioned? Is it pitch? Is the pitch deck ready?
Even more than that, there's one that's screening now, but it's a short. I'm
Really?
being serious. Yeah.
Where now?
We have a short film that's about xenophobia. It's
Okay.
called Amazeze, which means fleas. This one is also not in English. It is in isiZulu and in Shona. And it had its world premiere at Clermont-Ferrand in France, beginning of this year. And now it is going to have its African premiere at the Durban International Film Festival in July.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So watch this space. We hope it will continue to have a film festival run.
What's the reasoning for short films? Is it a business card to like, hey, this is what we can do. We want money so we can do this other thing? Or is it like, hey, we want to expand on this and make this 15-minute thing hour and a half?
well, I think with
What's the business reason for short films?
Well, with Silwerskerm, I think it was just a fantastic opportunity to. I think Silwerskerm is one of the rare gems of opportunity for emerging voices in South Africa. So we grabbed the two short films that we did through Silwerskerm with both hands. But this film, the reason that we've done it now, even though we more immersed in feature and long form, is that we pitched it back in 2022. I think in 2022 at Durban Talents, we pitched the concept, and then slowly but surely we ended up getting Gauteng Film Commission funding, National Film and Video Foundation funding, and PESP funding. So it was actually all government funded, the film.
That's amazing.
So that's really and it's a subject matter that we feel very, very passionate about, and unfortunately
it's on our doorstep.
It keeps flaring up, every few months or every few weeks. And it's an important conversation to be had. So I think for us, it's really like, we want to make stories that are important catalysts for conversations, but also, we're also mindful now that, the money is in more long form.
And that's
Is that
a documentary?
No, it's fiction.
Say that again?
Amazeze.
Amazeze,
Sort of
sorry.
fleas.
Okay.
But I think the other reason is that's another good opportunity with short films is either, as you're saying, if you have an idea for a feature and you just want to get, say, some funding off the ground, then you can use that short film as a proof of concept. That's another reason why people make short films. But for us, this one was also, I think for Jordy, directorially, a really great way to play because we did it in like a one-shot feel. And it's very heavy on sound design, not so much music. It's beautifully... it's just beautifully shot and thought through. And you don't always have that kind of privilege on a feature to do something like that. And it was interesting for us because we, as Jordy mentioned, we pitched it so long ago. And then I said to Jordy, we need to actually move on from this concept because exactly as you're saying, you're not going to make money off a short film. Sometimes if the short film does travel well, then there are... like France, for example, buys short films for French audiences.
Cultural exchange,
Yeah, and they watch them. Like Arte buys them, Canal Plus buys them. They watch them on TV. We don't really have that culture of watching shorts. So there is a bit of an opportunity to make money, but really it's more a calling card for a feature or it's a chance to play. But it was interesting because this actually just... we didn't put so much focus on it and it just gained momentum in the background. And then we thought, okay, let's jump on it.
Back it a bit,
yeah.
How long is that?
16 minutes.
Yeah, 16 minutes.
That's short.
Yeah.
Was it the plan or is it just...
No, it's the plan.
The plan was that it was, I think the script was about 15, 16 pages.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So,
Sheesh, was it resurrecting? Oh, it's not a documentary.
No, so it's but it's interesting as Gabi mentioned. It's like has this one shot feel. And it's,
well, obviously, is it a one shot or is it like?
No, we did more of the Birdman approach exactly. So there were certain hidden cuts and slicing moments, and then the other thing is that it actually a lot of the cast, like the three main cast members, are actually kids. Wow. So it was a lot of child performance, which was also a huge learning curve.
That is challenging.
And there was an animal on set. So it was like. One take, animal, children. It was like all the don't do's.
Shooting in Kliptown in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So it was a rough one.
With regards to the funding and like NVF and those people, have you guys, well, you weren't involved in the funding with Kwiksilwers now because Kagner did that, but the short films, they help fund it, right? What's the, how don't want to say what's the secret, but I know it's tough sometimes to get in there.
Yeah.
So what have you guys found that works? Is it just sitting on the neck with the admin, following up? Or is there?
I think it's following up. I think it's just submitting. That's something that Jordy's very good at. He won't let
Do you do
open,
that admin?
We both do it, but he won't let he won't let an open call go by without us. He's like, there's a deadline, but it is tomorrow. Like, okay, Jordy, but we've got meetings tomorrow. It's fine. Let's just work on it tonight. What are we doing tonight? So yeah, I think it's about being very persistent with the like as soon as you see an open call, just schedule it in and take time.
Explain to me what an open call is.
Sure. So they have
This is the NFF.
This is the NFF.
Okay.
The Gauteng Film Commission works in a similar way, but they have open calls that happen twice a year.
Yeah, usually twice.
About twice a year, and in different categories. So there's development funding, there's production funding, there's festival or market attendance. So
nice.
if you have a film that's in a film festival, you can say, please can you fund me to go to this film festival? Or even if you want to take meetings there, you say, this is like, these are my films that I'm working on. This is a slate that we're developing. We want to meet with these people. Can you, sponsor our flight or whatever? And then they also have, I think, training, and they also have some funding.
There's also post-production
funding. I think there's also funding if you run a film festival, then you can also get funding to run kind of industry events and things like that, which obviously is not what filmmakers are applying for. And each of those will have 2 calls a year. So there'll be like a production call in March and then another production funding call in November or whatever.
Then they're basically just saying, hey, submit your stuff.
Yeah. So then, but they've got quite a clear funding guideline, which you actually need to download on the first page of their form before you can even click to the next page. Okay. And they tier filmmakers. So tier 1 are filmmakers that have is tier 1 the bottom or the top?
No, tier 1's the top.
Oh, tier 1's the top. So tier 1's filmmakers that have had multiple feature films, multiple cinema releases, etc. Tier 2, you maybe have had 1 feature film, 2 short films. Tier 3, it's like your first time making a film. And then so you tick which tier you're in, there's also then funding. So short films, which is amazing. You don't have to pay the funding back. It's just soft money. Feature films.
Are they creatively involved then?
No.
Okay.
I don't even think for feature films they creatively
I don't
involved.
think so.
But they do have to be recouped. Their money's recouped later on in the waterfall.
Wow.
With the development, they're somewhat involved just because you have to hire an approved story editor that is on their accredited list. So we've done a development thing with them. So we hired a story editor, and then as long as that story editor ticks off all the milestones, then you kind of get paid in tranches.
Yeah.
So that's what
I remember way back. Is they do fund you, but you still need to fund yourself for the first 6 months. They pay in increments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Script is finished. Here's the money, but still for the 6 months, someone needs to get paid to write that thing, which is better than nothing. But but it shows you that filmmaking is actually producing more. So when you want to be a producer, it's a crap load of admin. It's it's not always making stories and cute little fun and blooper reels, and the admin side of filmmaking can be discouraging. For me, it feels like going to the Home Affairs. For me to think about filling in an NVF form is I'm gonna renew my ID and it's gonna take 5 years. It feels like that.
But I think you just have to be persistent because you never we've had projects that we've submitted that we've been we don't think we're gonna get funding on it, and then they'll surprise us. And I think you have to also just be mindful that they're not just going to...
gooi money.
Gooi money.
You're not special.
Exactly. You actually have to tick boxes of their mandate. Are you going to hire certain types of people? Are you shooting in an underdeveloped area that you can bring some sort of, money to that area? So there's certain mandates that also when you're doing the form, you almost have to think from their perspective, what do they actually want to invest in and what do they want to hear?
And be confident that you can deliver that and that you also care about those values.
Yeah.
Because otherwise... maybe they're not the right funder and find someone who funds a specific genre or something.
Yeah.
But I think, we apply all the time and don't always get accepted, but we've had, luck, I guess, in development and in the short film.
Yeah. Who funded the I Am Here?
So I'm Here was all independently funded, and then there's there's an organization in the States that funds Holocaust documentaries and content. So they gave us some funding as well.
It's private equity and the film fund.
Okay.
But it also was our first, it was our first film doing. We had when I think about how we because we submitted to so many funds, and I remember, it says like, what have you done before, or how can they try? And
Nothing.
we had done nothing before. So it's interesting.
Here's a TikTok video.
Yeah, TikTok. I don't think TikTok was around when we did I'm But exactly, I think now it's really, I think maybe that's also what you learn when you're in the independent producing space, is how to fill out these funding applications and how to show that you have the capability to pull something off within the budget, within the timeline, and that you're going to make this. Are they on board or not?
Yeah. Ugh. Getting PTSD flashbacks of producing. Do you guys watch The Studio on Apple TV?
I haven't
heard
yet.
about it.
Yes. We both
Is every second person telling you about it? But it's only because of the one take that I'm a fan of it, because it's adolescence was before them, depending on who shot first and who came out first. But I think Seth Rogen and them were like, damn it, because adolescence got so much airtime. But it's also a 60-minute shot where The Studio is also, it's got like 4 to 5 minute one takes. But it's just incredibly made because it's one lens the whole time. No switching. Anyway, just narratively, because the whole thing plays off in the industry, you know that. I mean, you know the premise. But it was such a fresh take on like the absurdness of where it's at. Yeah. So nothing, anything in development that you're not allowed to say now?
Well, we've got a lot of stuff in development. So we're actually developing some concepts with Marissa van Eerden, for more of like a cake net show mix audience.
Would you ever dabble in series, or is movie or?
Yeah, so some of it's series, some of it's feature film.
Nice.
And
is it light or heavy? A little bit of both.
I think, there's a mix. There's one that's
as we as humans are. A little bit of heavy, a little bit of light.
There's one that's quite like a Father's Day.
Ooh.
I think also like all of us here have little kids, so I think it's just you kind of write what you're going through in life. So yeah.
Did you submit for Silwerskerm next year?
So we've submitted on the portal.
Well, yeah.
So we'll
they decide.
We'll see. Yeah, it's with the powers that be at the moment.
Yeah. That's exciting.
So
it's a rom-com. No, it's not a rom-com.
No, so that's more of like a Father's Day comedy. Yeah.
But I think we always are. It's very interesting because I think everyone says, "Oh, it's sanctuary films." Like, do you? When we did this film that was about this Holocaust survivor, and then all of a sudden we got like 20 emails of, you need to tell this person's story. They're also a survivor, or this, and people thought, okay, that's what we do. We just do documentaries. And then, literally this week after this opening weekend, we've gotten like all these emails. We've also got a story and produced this, and it's people always trying to figure out, I think, like what genre we do, because we've documentary to a comedy to a xenophobia film to it's something about grief to something about anyway. So, but I think at Sanctuary Films we'll always do. No matter what genre it is, we want to keep pushing ourselves. We want to just keep telling true and authentic South African stories, and hopefully they will also spark something. And sometimes it's obvious, like a xenophobia film will be quite a a clear film that's an issue film. But even in this film, it's a comedy, but it's also about grief. It's also about these intimate female friendship and how women support each other at that stage of life.
And it's also going to change throughout your life.
Completely.
You might whatever's on you might feel like a conviction of like, I feel we need to tell this story about whatever these people that pull the trash trolleys in the street because it's important now. And then 2 years later you tell this most stupidest story about someone slipping on a banana peel, like whatever it is. Like like Spielberg's repertoire, Jaws, Jurassic Park, and then Shawshank Redemption. I'm like, wait, what's happening? Not Shawshank. Schindler's List, man.
Yeah.
It's like wait, the dinosaur guy and the you made Jaws, no?
Yeah.
So it's just like, tell the story. What's on your heart? There's no rules.
Exactly.
Follow your heart in the script. I don't have more questions, but I want to keep talking.
We can tell you a bit about the film.
Yeah,
we can tell you about the actresses.
Yes, but it's a crazy cast. Like a bunch of A-listers there. You got royalty of like theater royalty, Afrikaans. Because I mean, Lida, she's like on TV since, I don't know how old you are, I'm 41. But since I was like a boy, she was like killing it on screen. So
What I realized the other day is, we keep speaking about, oh, there are these 4 women and they go in the car. And then I realized there's actually like a 20-year age difference between like the youngest and the oldest of those 4. I'm not going to say who fits in where. Because
but you kind of brush them all at the same. You think
and it shows, I think it also shows for us that like even we were, we still have these stigmas that we need to break, that we just grouped all of these older women in one category.
But I do think the difference is that I'm not going to mention who the oldest is, but I think the oldest person there has just like
the most energy.
Yeah, the most energy.
Most
Like
youth,
she could be the youngest one in the pack.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we grouped them. I don't think we were being like ageist,
Okay, fine. We actually made them all younger.
Yeah.
We actually made them younger. But I think it even showed like on set when we were scheduling, we were thinking, but can they handle like 12-hour days and we're going to be shooting in the Karoo and there they are like letters jumping on the back of a bakkie with goats and our crew's there like sweating and tired and our actresses are running the show. And yeah, I think it's just phenomenal working with them. And another interesting thing to speak about, just because we're in your new studio, which is a green screen.
Shout out studio.
Is we actually shot a bit of the film at Filmscape on their volume stage.
Oh, snap.
Because
traveling, driving shots.
Yeah, so we shot all of the exterior driving of the cars driving on the road. We shot that on location in the Karoo. We really wanted it to feel authentic and we didn't want it to feel... it's actually amazing. Most people don't realize... Maybe we should stop bringing it up. But most people don't realize that we actually shot on a stage because it feels just really authentic.
Yeah.
Like as soon as they get out the car, they are in location. But then what we did continuity-wise is we would shoot the car like on location, arriving. They would say their kind of last line in their car. They would get out, they'd perform the scene on location, they'd get back in the car and drive off. And then just the part in the car with the car driving, we would have shot a plate shot on the same day. So we have the same kind
exterior,
of sky and exterior and whatever, continuity-wise. And then we have them in the car speaking. And that just really helped us save time.
No, you have to make, it's a business. You have to make the creative calls. And also, like, it works. You're there, then it starts raining, then you lose the shot or whatever it is. Like, it makes sense to just move it inside if it works better for everyone. Everyone's closer to their home. No, man, there's no judgment. No one's looking at a film and be like, oh, this part is fake.
The whole part's fake.
Yeah, I'm always like,
the whole thing is written.
like, is it continuity or sometimes, what context is this now? When you shoot something and people will be like, well, it's not going to make sense. Where does this come from? Then I'm like, where does the music come from? Because there's music in films as well. All of a sudden, there's like a Bon Jovi track playing. I'm like, where does the music come from? Like, stop asking. I don't know. Overthinking.
On a separate note, my nephew, who's about 8, said to my mom was singing him a song. And he goes, Granny, you made that song up. I've never heard that song before. You made it up. And I said, well, did you tell him that every song ever has been made up?
That's great. That's
exactly.
Funny. That's when people say, I heard this on a James Acaster's stand-up. He was like, when people watch a bad film or a bad concert, they'd be like, well, that's 2 hours of my life. I'm never getting back. And he's like, every hour is an hour of your life. You're never getting back. Not just the one that you watched a stupid film. Any questions about the Afrikaans industry? So wait, your next project? Oh, it's Afrikaans. Tell me about Marista. I don't know anything about her. She's a writer?
Yes, so Marista, we met at Silwerskerm.
Did you have a film there?
She had a film called Benny Bingo, yeah, which was a fantastic family comedy.
Is it on Showmax?
So it's on Showmax currently.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, I know, it's a wonderful short film, really, really funny. So we've always been in talks with her afterwards, and I think this was the perfect project to collab with her.
Just to mention about Benny Bingo, it is a comedy, but it actually is about, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it is actually, there's an underlying more serious theme, which you only realize at the end. And what we were speaking about, the types of films that we make, is often you think you're laughing, but it's actually making you think, or you surprise yourself by shedding a tear or something. And so we just knew that she was someone that we wanted to collaborate with. Great comedy writer, but with a lot of heart.
Yeah, and she's just so funny. It's like, we had so much...
Is she a Joburger?
She's from Centurion.
Yeah.
I think
that's me as well. Centurion is not even. I'm like, what are you guys? Make up your mind.
I don't think she. I don't know.
But she's Gauteng.
Gauteng.
Yeah, she did.
I'm coming for you. Okay, sorry, you were saying just
No, she was just
Funny.
so wonderful, so funny, and just also her dialogue, so witty. How like we would write certain things, and especially in the translating to Afrikaans, like it almost had a new meaning when it was translated into Afrikaans because like
Is
it was
she
just so funny.
Is she writing full time on something? Like, is she involved in like a soap or something like that?
Not full time, but she's
Now and then.
I guess a writer for hire, but she writes on a lot of different.
Yeah.
Well, writing is one thing I can
shows,
say because you guys write as well. But for the listener out there, if you want to make films, it's all starts with the script. And the sucky part about writing is it's sucky.
It's
like
hard.
it's like climbing a mountain with like no climbing gear. It's just sitting on. It's like when they say you search for gold, it's like you have to hit a rock because the gold is inside the rock. That feels like script writing. It's torture, but it's the most important part. So if you want to get into filmmaking or make your own films, at least, it's like unfortunately gonna have to buckle up on those skills.
Or find someone. I think it's also really important to know your strengths.
Yep.
I think if you're not a good writer,
Surround yourself with people
surround
better than
yourself
you.
with people. Yeah.
Look at you,
Yeah.
producer. Throwing money at the problem. No, but I'm totally with you. Because everything gets better.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people that's better than you, everything gets better. Because you got your place and your job in your chain in this whole thingy, and then it's their part to write. I like that approach as well. Like get someone else to do the grind. And then I just come and be like, stupid.
But it's more like I think it's a collab, you know, like you have people with different strengths, and I think, as you were saying with your analogy, like I feel like Marista was that like mining instructor who like kind of knew the path to dig, and we were like the diggers.
You're like the beers. You're just standing there getting the diamonds. No, I'm kidding. No, that's awesome, guys. But yeah, thank you for coming to hang out on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you for making a film. I know making a film it's so much fun, but it's also like a 2-year project, and people can just diss it like that in 5 seconds, be like, nah, it's average. And no one ever, I always have to remind myself when I watch a film and I don't like it, no one goes out to make a bad film. There's like 1,000 reasons where something doesn't come out the way that you plan it. But thank you for sharing your story today and the way you make films.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been so lekker. Thanks.
No, it was awesome. Good luck for the rest of the stuff. I'm super excited to see all the rest of the stuff coming up. May there be more influential but inspiring stories, especially the religious stuff. I go from like a Christian background, and I wouldn't say I make stories that's like based on my faith, but when something is inside of you, it'll always come out. Like there'll be little sprinkles of the way you explore and see life, and I think that's super important in filmmaking, even though film is not necessarily religiously topical, but I like stuff like that. I think that brings us all more closer together, especially when we see how different we are in some areas. That'll actually it's a mirror to be like, we're actually more the same. We just do it on a Sunday. They do it on a Saturday or a Friday. But I'm excited, and I'll send you a voice note after I watch the film.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're just encouraging everyone to get into cinemas. I think it means, obviously means a lot for us, supporting the film, but really it's just such an enjoyable experience. It's Mother's Day coming up soon. This is the perfect film to grab your mom, go on a road trip to the cinema, grab your friends that you want to go on a road trip with, take them to the cinema. It's really fun film to laugh with the crowd. So catch it in cinemas.
Also, check out Sanctuary Films on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Because the film, even though, because not every town has got a theatre, but check out on Box Office, because the majority of people's got cake in it, or DSTV. So check it out on DSTV Box Office soon. I'm guessing in like a month or 2.
Not sure. Let's see how the cinema release goes.
Once the cinema release wraps, then I think
hopefully
about a
2027.
month later.
Check it out and support local film. And thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.